Hi Tim, lately I saw one of your videos about that the left is not willing to give interviews, by the way. Love your drone. As you have observed, this is different in Europe, or let's say it's the opposite in Europe. You talked about that with Sweden. The main problem, Tim, is that we have different ideas culture-wise what the center is. Therefore, we have different ideas what is right and what is left. There are a lot of things Bernie Sanders said that we here would have counted as at least right-wing. And in contrast, the so-called far-right FPÖ in Austria uses the word social justice in their slogans. As from a perspective that is as objective as possible, I would have to argue that America is after all still more on the right than on the left, and Europe is more on the left than on the right. In America, the mainstream of mind, not the media, is still linked to freedom, and ours here is still linked to etatism, to statism, if you want. Your hard left is not so hard from my point of view, but it's still young in America. In a geological sense at least, you never had that before, it's new, and people tread on eggshells because they don't know how to handle this new thing. It's the same here with the idea of freedom. It might be pretty hard for you to find a minarchist over here to argue against the state. There is no legacy culture for that here. We don't know that. Perhaps you know the song Amerika from Rammstein. One sentence there is Die Freiheit spielt auf allen Geigen. All the violins play freedom. This is how we see it mostly over here on a cultural level. It's a word, it's a slogan. Most of us don't understand what it really means because it's quite an abstract concept as a planned economy is for you Americans. You know, we don't had this Wild West kind of freedom for 5,000 years in Europe. Our different cultures start now, thanks to the age of communication, to adopt concepts of each other, and this experimentation is handled by the young. And one of the things youngsters are is unsafe in what they are doing, overcompensating it with hiding in groups and behind slogans, and yes, behind leaders. What you can do is interview them with their face not being seen. There was this meme popular in Europe, I can't find it, some time ago. It was about how some girl showed her tits for some silly reason, and in America you could see her face, but the nipples were pixeled. And in Europe it was the other way around. You could see the nipple in all news pages, but her face was pixeled. What you can do, and I know this is kind of strange for Americans, do that. Allow people to stay anonymous. What they say has still value. I don't care for the names or their jobs or their reputations or their background or their education for this sake. I care for what they say. Perhaps you can get interviews under this premise that is quite rebellious in the American media, to respect that people can deny that it is them for whatever reasons, and that it is okay to do that. Their face does not matter to most of us in Europe, and I think for most Americans, in this time at least, it's the same.